Have you ever looked out your window and wondered what might be looking back? Now just take that thought and, well, magnify it. Imagine it wasn't a squirrel or a bird but something much, much larger. Something with scales, teeth like daggers, and a lineage stretching back millions of years. What if the asteroid that changed our world 66 million years ago had missed? What if the long reign of the dinosaurs never truly ended? This isn't just a question for movies or books. It's a fundamental query about our own place in the grand, sprawling story of life on Earth. How would humanity have evolved or even survived on a planet that never stopped belonging to these magnificent, terrifying creatures? The world we would inhabit would be fundamentally different. A place shaped not by ice ages and mammals, but by the persistent dominant presence of reptilian giants. The story of evolution would have taken a dramatically different turn. Perhaps our distant mammalian ancestors would have remained small, scurrying creatures forever living in the shadows, too terrified to venture out and claim the day. The great grasslands might never have spread so far and wide, kept in check by colossal herds of long-necked sauropods, whose constant grazing would have maintained a landscape of ferns and cycads. Every ecosystem, from the deepest jungles to the vast open plains, would be defined by the dinosaurs that ruled it. The air would carry different sounds, not just the familiar drone of traffic, but the deep, resonant calls of hadrosaurs echoing through valleys, or the piercing shriek of a raptor on the hunt. The very ground would tremble under the weight of titans. Our entire perception of nature would be recalibrated. We would not see ourselves as the undisputed masters of the planet, but as participants in a much older, much wilder drama. The concept of wilderness would take on a new, more profound and infinitely more dangerous meaning. It would be a world where stepping off a well-trodden path could mean stepping back into the Cretaceous period. The fossil record tells a story of incredible diversity, and we must assume this variety would have continued to flourish and evolve over the last 66 million years. There wouldn't just be the familiar faces like Tyrannosaurus and Triceratops. We would be living alongside their descendants, creatures that had millions of years to adapt to a changing climate and shifting continents. Imagine feathered tyrannosaurs adapted for colder climates, or smaller, more agile sauropods capable of navigating dense forests. The planet would be a living museum, but one where the exhibits could eat you. It forces us to reconsider everything we think we know about the world and our fragile place within it. How would humans and dinosaurs share a single planet? The relationship would be complex, a constant dance between awe. Early humans would not have been the apex predators they became in our timeline. Instead, they would have been ingenious survivors, using their intelligence and social structures not just to hunt mammoths, but to avoid becoming a meal for a hungry Allosaurus or its evolved descendants. These animals would represent a constant existential threat. Human settlements would need to be fortresses built in defensible locations like high cliffs or surrounded by natural barriers. Our ancestors would have honed their skills in trap-making, camouflage, and collective defense to an incredible degree. The night would be a time of great peril, a period when the silent, swift hunters, the raptors, would have the advantage. Fear of these predators would be deeply ingrained in our collective psyche. Ultimately, humanity's greatest asset would be its brain. We would use our intelligence to carve out a niche for ourselves in a world dominated by brawn. We would learn which plants were toxic to dinosaurs, creating natural fences. We would discover which sounds repelled certain species and which might attract others. Sharper spears, stronger walls, more elaborate warning systems. All would be born from the necessity of surviving in a land of giants. Our species-defining characteristic would be our adaptability in the face of overwhelming power, making us the clever underdogs of the natural world. The scientific opportunities would be boundless. Imagine being able to study dinosaur biology, behavior, and genetics in real time.